So I've actually changed it to be the darkest journalism. I think we live in a very strange time where journalism has actually turned a corner, and we're in a very, very dark place indeed with what we can and can't begin to see as truth or as fact or as something that's just leading us down a path to an inevitable bad decision. So what the fuck is journalism in 2016? Well, I think we're in an effect that Marshall McLuhan was talking about. We shape our tools, and therefore the tools shape us. You know, we're the children of the internet. I got on the internet when I was around about 20 years old. That was about 1993, 94. It was a green screen dialing into a Norwegian university to look up their catalogue of academic books. There was no pornography in those academic books. We looked in the Internet Club at Bournemouth University. But like, it's the idea that over the last 25 years, because that's been the modern internet, we're actually shaped by what the internet has become, the content in it, and the people that operate to push the messages around, and that includes us as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the beginnings of where this came from in 1994, the early stages of the internet. And I'm going to talk about this guy, Josh Harris. And he starred in a movie, well, he subsequently was featured in a documentary by Ondi Timina called We Live in Public.
The internet's like this new human experience. At first, everybody's going to like it, but there will be a fundamental change in the human condition. One day, we're all going to wake up and realize that we're just servants. It's captured us.
It was genius because nobody had done it yet.
He was saying this is the way it's going to be. And he was right. I mean, he was right.
He was selling companies for a couple $1 million while we were all a bunch of kids getting paid $10 an hour to try and figure out HTML.
Josh was one of these incredible new idols everybody suddenly wanted to be.
I'm in a race to take CBS out of business.
He was always trying to advance the inevitable. This is going to happen. Let's try it now.
It is our function as artists to make the spectator see the world our way.
People want 15 minutes of fame every day.
So we built a bunker and showed them the future.
I'm an alligator. I'm a mama, papa coming for you.
We're going to record Stasi type of intelligence.
The cameras were everywhere. There was cameras set up in the showers and the toilets.
Is there anything graphic on the TV?
They're eating and shitting and having sex in public, and people ate it up.
Keep your electric on me, babe.
This was one of the most extraordinary activities I've ever attended anywhere in the world. Really, the question starts to become, who is behind this? What's going on?
I've joined the cult.
Everything is free except the video that we capture of you. That we own.
Sounds pretty familiar, right? 22 years ago. Basically predicted the phenomena of YouTube and Netflix and all of these social networks that we've got around. They had a gun range. They actually like, hey, go for it. Here's all the booze and whatever that you want. And then there's a gun range with sub-automatic weapons in the basement. Got shut down after about 40 days. It's a really interesting movie. Subsequently, he put him and his partner's life completely on the internet until he completely broke down. And now I think he's an amateur boxer in Las Vegas. But then this happened, sort of fast forward. Here's the iPhone, and then here's the App Store, and then 50 billion apps have been downloaded, and then more and more and more. And someone earlier was talking about cell phones. I think it was Bartosz. But there's more people in the world that have got access to cell phones, that have got access to clean running water. About 6 billion people in the world have got access to cell phone technology. So sure, some of it might be shared. A third of this is smartphone technology, and by 2020, there'll be more smartphones than by about a factor of 3 than there will actually be desktop PCs. The world's absolutely changing, and connectivity's everywhere. And now this brings us to where the fuck we are with journalism, right? And I actually see it as a Venn diagram, because over the years I've been a strategist. If I don't draw a Venn diagram, I haven't earned my money. Always Venn diagrams. Anyone that's worked with me, it's like, oh God, okay, right, okay, 3 things, blah, blah, blah. But there's a relationship. And in journalism today, I think that there's 3 things that I'm going to talk about. One's professionals, the second's ProArms, so professional amateurs, people that may have started off amateurs but now getting paid, and then participants, absolutely everyone in this room and absolutely everyone out in the world. So number 1, professionals. Professional journalists broke the story of Edward Snowden and took that story out to the public, and world famous, and it changed a lot of rules, and that was really important. Professionals broke the story about Mossack Fonseca and all the countries, all the companies within Panama. And also, Mother Jones invested $350,000 to break the story about how prisons are very poorly run, and actually privatized prisons are destructive to not only the inmates but to society as a whole. But they paid $350,000 for that investigation. These other investigations were hundreds of thousands of dollars as well. This only earned $5,000 back in advertising. So no reason, there's no surprise that professional journalism is sort of going the way of the dodo, because who's going to pay for it? Are we going to crowdsource and pay for the newspapers that we buy? Well, we don't buy newspapers anymore, do we? We like free information, even from like reputable professional journalistic sources, like Mother Jones. But they do an incredibly useful and very serious job as journalists in the world. And then here's my first election reference. But even these large organizations, even like Slate.com, which can be seen as one of the main online sort of newspapers to read as well, is under the influence of all this like tension in the world. So all of these websites are making more money because of the chaos that happened yesterday and the months before that, and they're going to love Trump's presidency. Okay, and that's a nice segue into ProArms. And this is just a cut of a video from John Oliver's episode on journalism.
In a city built on secrets.
I'm hearing there's corruption in City Hall.
Only a newsroom willing to stop at nothing can uncover the truth.
And it might go all the way to the top.
All the way to the top?
They knew. And I think we could prove that they knew.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what kind of clicks we're going to get on that. Yeah. Anybody else?
I've got a thing about a cat that looks like a raccoon. Or it could be a raccoon that looks like a cat. Wait, I'm not sure.
Now we're talking.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's great. Let's figure that out.
Okay, great.
Yeah, maybe an online poll.
It's political corruption in Boston.
We'll come back to that if we have time. But
I like the rat cat.
The rat cat. That's great.
Rat.
Let's blow the roof off that.
It's the movie critics are hailing as genuinely deflating and depressingly accurate. The Oregonian raves. Ugh, who needs a drink? 4 reporters.
Actually, I'm taking a buyout.
3 reporters.
Technically, I'm not a reporter. I'm the director of social media strategies, but I consider myself an important part of the editorial.
2 reporters.
I'm also leaving. I'm being replaced by whatever the this is.
1 reporter and some kind of burnt orange X chase the story of a lifetime.
So this is where we're going. This is what's happening. Like BuzzFeed, I took this screenshot. I even looked at it today, and there was a much larger feature about the presidency. But like, if you actually look down here, there's a little bit of news about Obama and Putin. But look up there, muddy puppies. You know, this is what's controlling the content feed. For a lot of younger people in the world, this is how they consume news. And BuzzFeed, started off as something that didn't necessarily make lots of money, but now it does, and it's a huge business. And then you've got WikiLeaks. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Oh, wait a moment. So Assange tried to usurp the American election by posting a lot of leaks from the Ecuadorian embassy. So they went in and they shut off his internet access, but it's fine because they say, we've still got the ability to publish. Right? And WikiLeaks is surviving on donations, and it's a ProArms site. And we can see the effect that it had over the last few weeks of the election. And then we got bystanders and participants, this final part of the Venn diagram. And 6 billion journalists. So going back to that stat, 6 billion people in the world have got access to cell phones. Everyone's got it. The Arab Spring was an incredibly powerful movement, and like feature phones were a major part of the communication there. And then you had breaking news through cell phones and through people on the ground. So this guy, Sohaib Attar, was actually in Abbottabad as they were undertaking the attack on Osama bin Laden's place. So he broke the news. And then Keith Urban, who was one of the people that worked in the White House, broke the news properly. And that was before anyone like Obama or whatever said what was going to go on. And then someone called Hillary Clinton the C word on Twitter just a couple of weeks ago. Not just anyone, the top Republican party, I think he was like one of the top organizers in Texas. And then he said, no, I've been hacked. And then it's like, no, it was the interns. And then everyone just called him the C word. And then we had Brexit. You think that you've got it bad. You know, everyone, we live in Canada. Oh my God, we're scared of Trump. Try having been born in a country where you let half of the bumpkins in the country, through what we call democracy, vote us out of a system that we've been in for over 40 years that was working quite well and meant that my savings were worth something, called Brexit, right? Imagine that. And then just realize that it's not the journalists that actually captured the moment of what Brexit actually meant. There was a Financial Times article, but it wasn't until there was a journalist student that's 25 years old, went into the comments and actually wrote one of the most poignant descriptors of what life that we're living today. Thirdly, and perhaps most significantly, we now live in a post-factual democracy. Probably one of the most important things that was written this year about Brexit. And the Financial Times has now brought him in to come and write for them and whatever. Financial Times didn't have the foresight to have that level of understanding because they weren't 25 years old and a student and it wasn't affecting them so deeply. And there's lots and lots of people that are following this. There's like nearly 7 million results in Google now using that term. And it came from one of us. I tried using Snapchat. I did an experiment. I just let my data run out, and my cell phone provider was saying, you've run out of data. And I used Snapchat and a number of other platforms, and I knocked up $350 in fees in 1 month. I'm using Snapchat, mostly watching stuff. 10 billion snaps a day. And a lot of that is construed as news. And this happened in Virginia on Facebook Live. There's a trigger warning here.
Word around town is we got them pounds. Word around town is we got them pounds. Word around town and my young niggas. Word around.
News is live on Facebook Live. This was in Virginia. These 3 young men actually didn't die. They all got shot, and they were broadcasting on Facebook Live. There's actually another woman whose partner was shot in the car next to them as she was broadcasting a police stop and search, or maybe it was an interrogation. They're a black couple. So this is the world we're living in. Bystanders and participants are probably more powerful in sharing the stories than anyone else. And then we've got cams that are on all the cars. Who's actually bought a cam for their car so they've got actual, evidence? Wow, the paranoia. I don't want someone to know that I shunted them up the back. It's like, no, it definitely wasn't me. And then we got memes. Like the election was amazing for memes. My favorite is Monica Lewinsky in the corner. Good luck, Hillary. Don't blow it. And also where she's been mashed up with Donald Trump. And then you got Trump. It's just like, too bad. I'm not even going to say any of it. Okay. And then we've got fake news. And there's nothing but fake news. The election showed us that there's a ton of fake news in the world. About roughly 1 in 4 debate tweets was from a bot. This is on Twitter, right? And pro-Trump activity has only intensified as the election campaign has gone on. By the third debate, bots posting pro-Trump tweets outnumbered pro-Clinton bot tweets 7-1. And I went into Twitter today, and I've been incessantly watching election day, election 2016, Trump and Hillary or Clinton on Twitter for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And OCD has come from the situation. But you look today, and all of the bots have gone silent. And there's actually just the real voice, which is a voice of there's some people that love Trump, but there's a damn lot of people that are scared. And right now in New York City, there's a massive protest outside of one of his buildings. Donald Trump understands social media and reality television better than anyone else. The villain becomes a star in social media. And this is from Van Jones, who's awesome on CNN, right? So what we've got is the bystanders are now part of the entire system, and even the president-elect of the USA is part of that bystander voice. And in fact, he actually activated all the other bystanders and all the bots, and actually created so much dissonance and noise that Hillary Clinton didn't have a chance. In fact, last Friday I was at a party and had a chat with my friend. I said, it's over. At that point, it was absolutely over. And like the FBI investigation and everything just destroyed Hillary Clinton, even though she got the popular vote. And it could have been a lot closer. All of this kind of activity, which could be seen as journalistic endeavor, has actually meant that we're in the situation we're in today. And what's really interesting as well, not only is that the influence that's out there in the world, but in America itself, only 232 media executives control the information diet of 277 million Americans. Do you know how easy it is to influence 232 media execs? Why do you think everything's so skewed? Why do you think when you watch one channel like CNN, you get a different story to something like Fox? Because the people within that are actually operating a system where fundamentally bystanders and participants are affecting everything that's being pushed out. So this is where we are. Professionals, ProArms, and participants, which is really control, chaos, and unpredictability, and it's like a washing machine. It's like the cauldron stirring it up, and the grand wizard is at the head of the table. That's a metaphor. Trump is the master of doubt, right? Doubt everything that she said. Doubt the country, doubt the system, doubt Obamacare, doubt everything. It's like, I don't know what to think. Maybe there is something wrong, even with the most staunch supporters. But where are we? Well, the world that we're living in, with all the different kinds of journalism, is controlled and divided. It's paranoid, social, non-linear, and confusing. We don't know where it's going. We don't know when it ends. And we don't know what to believe as fact and what to discount as something that just isn't true.
Well, how I remain authentic is by not being a journalist. I think if you look at the failure of journalism in the modern age, then I don't want to be called a journalist.
That's Shane Smith from Vice. I know he's got more traditional media links, yeah, but like he's still the person that's saying, fuck you. Our journalism is different. And I think that that's why Vice is so popular. Who's watched a Vice news article or, video? Back in the day, they were just like really cool magazines in tattoo shops and skateboard shops. And now they're this behemoth. And it's because all other news outlets are kind of fucking it up. And these people say, you know what? We're going to start off by saying that we're not perfect and we're going to go after all of the information, but we're going to demystify that and present it in a way where you can make the decision, and we're going to be on the ground. We're not going to sit in our offices, make a phone call to a number of different people that might not be reliable sources. We're going to send people in. And, they've had people kidnapped, or there's some very risky situations. I think Vice is doing a very good job of redefining what new journalism is, and they're not even wanting to call it journalism. But I just want to round up by talking a little bit about fiction and science fiction. If you read comic books and graphic novels, you might know who this is. This is Spider Jerusalem. He's the main character in Transmetropolitan. I don't have to put up with the shabby crap. I'm a journalist. And he does drugs, and he has sex, and he causes all sorts of shit. And he's one of the leaders in the new journalism world in the far future. But I think he says something very, very poignant and important. about what journalism is today as well. Journalism is just a gun. It's only got one bullet in it, but if you aim right, that's all you need. Aim right and you can blow a kneecap off the world. That's what happened yesterday. Thank you very much. Ultimately, power has shifted from journalists. That's darkest journalism. This has been Dark Futures. Thank you very much for coming.